The moon hung low over the Chicago skyline, its silver light slipping through the tall windows of our Oak Park home, casting elegant shadows that danced like restless spirits across the hardwood floors. I, Anna Thompson, 38 years old, an artist whose paintings captured the raw, haunting pulse of the city, stood in the kitchen, the clock's soft tick cutting through the midnight silence. My husband, David, had called hours ago, his voice smooth but distant, spinning another excuse about a late client meeting. The 5th time that week. The doubt that had been whispering in my heart for months now roared, a shadow I could no longer ignore. 15 years ago, our story began in a burst of color and promise. I was 23, fresh from the Art Institute of Chicago, my paintings on display at a small gallery in Wicker Park. Dark, moody canvases of stormy lakefronts and lonely figures under city lights. David, 28, a rising star in tech sales, walked in, his suit sharp, his smile a beacon in the dim room. He paused before a painting of a woman on a bridge, her silhouette swallowed by moonlight. "This feels alive," he said, his voice warm as summer dusk. "It's like she's hiding something, waiting to confess." We talked until the gallery closed, about art, dreams, the secrets that make us human. He bought the painting, and our first date followed, a moonlit walk along Navy Pier, his hand in mine, his stories of ambition weaving with my hopes for a life filled with beauty. 2 years later, we married by Lake Michigan, the waves whispering vows as we promised forever. "To the mysteries we'll share," he said, raising his glass, his eyes locked on mine. Those early years were a dream painted in vibrant hues. We bought this house in Oak Park, a colonial with ivy climbing its walls, a basement studio for my art, a backyard where a Max, our golden retriever, chased squirrels. David rose through the ranks at Tech Innovate, a software firm in the Loop, his paychecks funding our life, gallery shows for me, weekend getaways to Wisconsin. But the children we dreamed of never came. Infertility tests gave no answers, just endless appointments, hormone shots, 3 failed IVF cycles that left us hollow. David held me through nights of tears, his arms my anchor, but the weight grew heavy. After the last failure, he suggested we stop. "We're enough," he said, scheduling a vasectomy to end the cycle of hope and heartbreak. I nodded, but the empty nursery upstairs lingered like a ghost, its silence haunting every corner. Now, 15 years in, the house felt like a gallery of faded dreams, elegant but empty. David's job consumed him, his phone buzzing with texts he read in private. He came home late, his clothes carrying a cologne I didn't know. His stories of team dinners and networking events sounded rehearsed. "The promotion's close," he'd say, his eyes sliding past mine. I wanted to believe him, but the shadows in our marriage grew longer, their edges sharp and cold. That Tuesday morning, David left with a quick kiss, his briefcase swinging as he climbed into his black Audi S5. "Love you, babe," he called, the words automatic. I watched him drive away, the doubt a knot in my chest. To ease it, I decided to clean his car, a small act of love to bridge the growing chasm between us. The Audi sat in the garage, its sleek lines dulled by a thin layer of dust. I grabbed the vacuum, a trash bag, started on the seats. Coffee cups, receipts from gas stations, a bar tab from the Velvet Lounge. I tossed them aside, then opened the glove compartment to sort the clutter. My fingers brushed a small box tucked behind the owner's manual. I pulled it out, my curiosity shifting to dread. The box was plain, but inside were 5 foil-wrapped condoms, the brand Trojan Sensations, ribbed for pleasure we hadn't shared in months. The box was half empty, as if the others had already been used. I sank onto the garage floor, the packets in my lap, the world tilting. We hadn't used condoms since the vasectomy. These weren't for me. They were for someone else. The truth hit like a storm, tearing through 15 years of marriage. Tears came, hot and silent, as memories flashed. His late nights, the way he locked his phone, the new cologne that clung to his shirts. Who was she? A coworker? A stranger from a bar? The pain was a knife, slicing through the canvas of our life. I remembered our last intimate night, 3 weeks ago, his touch distant, his mind elsewhere. Now I knew why. 15 years of supporting each other through infertility, financial strain, the quiet nights planning a future, reduced to this hidden betrayal. The shock burned away, replaced by a rage that pulsed like a heartbeat. I wasn't going to cry or scream. I was an artist. I saw the world in symbols, and these condoms were a symbol of his deceit. I'd make them a symbol of his confession, dragged into the light. I stood, clutching the box, and went inside. Max greeted me, his tail wagging, but I barely saw him. In the kitchen, I opened the spice cabinet, my eyes locking on the jar of dried red chili flakes. The powder was fire itself. I'd used it in cooking, and a pinch could set your mouth ablaze. Capsaicin would burn on sensitive skin, a punishment fitting his crime. If David was using these with his lover, I'd make sure he felt the heat of his betrayal. I slipped on rubber gloves from my art supplies, laying the packets on the counter like evidence in a trial. With a small knife, I sliced the top of each foil wrapper, just enough to expose the rolled condom inside. The latex gleamed, the lubricant slick. I sprinkled a teaspoon of chili flakes into each one, shaking gently to coat the interior. The powder clung, invisible in the dim light. Not wanting to mess up the kitchen, I grabbed my hair straightener, setting it on low heat. I pressed the cut edges between parchment paper, the foil softening and bonding. The seal was nearly perfect. I held each packet to the light, no tears, no loose flakes. They looked untouched, a trap woven with care. My hands trembled as I finished, adrenaline mixing with fear. Was this too much? I sat at the table, laptop open, searching capsaicin on skin. The results were clear: burning, swelling, intense pain, but temporary. Milk or yogurt could neutralize it. On intimate areas, it would be agony, but not dangerous. David would suffer, and maybe the pain would force the truth from the shadows. It was vindictive, but it felt like justice. I returned the condoms to the glove compartment, arranging the receipts around them. The car was pristine, a stage set for Betrayal's unveiling. That evening, David came home at 7:45, his tie loose, his face flushed. Traffic was brutal, he said, dropping his briefcase. Max bounded over, but David barely patted him, heading for the fridge. "Lasagna's ready," I said, setting the table, my voice steady despite the storm inside. "Smells amazing," he replied, grabbing a beer. He leaned against the counter, scrolling his phone, thumbs typing quickly. During dinner, his phone buzzed twice. He glanced at it, a faint smile flickering before he typed back. "Work?" I asked, spearing a bite. "Yeah," a colleague with a question. The lie hung like smoke. After dinner, he suggested a movie, but I claimed a headache. In bed, I watched him scroll his phone, a message popping up. "Tomorrow's gonna be fun. Bring the stuff. K." The initials seared into me. Kayla? Kristen? I said nothing, my secret burning brighter. The next day was torture. I tried to paint, but the canvas became a chaos of reds and blacks, my rage bleeding through. Max stayed close, sensing my unrest. At noon, David texted, "Love you. Busy day. Late again." I replied, "Love you too. Safe travels." The words tasted bitter. Evening fell, the house cloaked in shadows. I ate alone, the lasagna leftovers cold. At 8 p.m., I walked Max, the neighborhood quiet, porch lights glowing. At 9 p.m., I poured wine. the glass trembling in my hand. At 10:30 p.m., the phone rang. "Anna?" David's voice was a strangled cry. "It's burning. God, it's bad." "Where are you?" I asked, my heart racing with dark satisfaction. "The Marriott downtown, room 512. The condom, it's like fire. Please come get me." "I'm coming," I said, grabbing my keys. The drive was a blur, city lights streaking past like comets. I parked in the hotel garage, taking the elevator to the 5th floor. The hallway was plush, red carpet and gold-numbered doors. I knocked on 512, and David opened it, his face pale, sweat dripping. "Anna," he gasped, hobbling to the bed in boxers, an ice pack pressed to his groin. The room smelled of panic, the bed unmade, a single condom wrapper on the nightstand. "What happened?" I asked, closing the door. "I met someone," he said, wincing. "A mistake. But the condom, it started burning, like acid." "Someone?" I pressed, my voice calm as ice. "A woman?" He nodded, tears streaming. "I'm so sorry. Her name's Kayla, from work. It's been a few months. I was lonely, Anna. Please." "Let's get you to the hospital," I said, helping him dress, his movements agonizing. In the car, the confession poured out. Kayla was 28, a marketing assistant, vibrant and new. It started at a company retreat. Drinks, flirtation, hotel rooms. "You were always painting," he said, as if that justified it. I felt invisible. "Invisible?" I snapped, merging onto the highway. "After I stood by you through everything?" At Northwestern Memorial, the ER was bustling. The doctor, a woman with sharp eyes, examined him. "Contact dermatitis from capsaicin," she said, a smirk tugging at her lips. "Like chili pepper in the condom. Seen it before. Pranks. Revenge. Wash with milk. Use this cream. No activity for a week. Get tested for STIs." David's eyes flicked to me, suspicion dawning, but pain drowned it. "Chili?" "Could be sabotage," the doctor said, "or a bad batch." In the car home, he begged. "It's over with her. Therapy, anything, please." I drove in silence, the city a blur of lights and shadows. At home, I set him up on the couch with milk and ice. As he groaned, I sat across from him. "Tell me everything." He did. The affair began 6 months ago, fueled by stress and distance. Kayla was exciting, making him feel young. They met twice a week, hotels or her place. The condoms were bought recently, kept in the car for secrecy. "I love you, Anna," he said. "This was nothing." "Nothing that broke us," I replied, my voice a blade. The next morning, David called in sick, his groin swollen and red. "I can't move," he moaned. I made breakfast, watching him suffer. "Tell me about Kayla." He spilled more. She was ambitious, pushing for a future he never intended. She'd ghosted him since the incident, scared off. While he napped, I checked his phone, the password our anniversary. Texts from Kayla. "What happened? You freaked out and bolted." Photos of them in hotel rooms, her in a red dress. My stomach churned. I called my sister, Sarah, 40 and divorced, a real estate agent who knew Betrayal. "You put chili in them?" She laughed over coffee. "You're a legend. But now what?" I said, "Divorce, and I need evidence." She nodded. "Check his laptop. Bank statements, emails." That night, a note arrived in the mail, slipped under the door. Plain envelope, typed message. "He's hiding more. Check his laptop. K." The mystery deepened. David's laptop password was the same. Emails revealed transfers to Kayla, $3,000, $2,500, labeled loans. And more, messages to a bookie, bets on football, losses totaling $50,000. A shadow loomed, gambling debts. I confronted him. "You're bankrupting us?" He broke, tears falling. "Online poker. I thought I could win it back. Kayla needed money too. For what? Her rent, her car. I felt guilty." The argument exploded. "You're out," I said. He left for his mother's, begging for a chance. I hired a private investigator. "Follow him," I told her. The PI reported back. David was meeting a bartender, Lisa, at the Velvet Lounge. Photos showed him kissing in his car, the same car. The betrayal was a web, David its center. I met Kayla at a cafe. She was 28, blonde, nervous. He said you were separated, she said. I'm sorry. Liar, I replied, recording discreetly. What else? He's in debt. Gambled my savings, $5,000, and he mentioned another woman from a dating app. Another layer. I contacted Lisa, the bartender, who confirmed a fling. He's charming, but trouble, she said. I filed for divorce, my lawyer a shark. We have infidelity, financial fraud, she said. The proceedings were a storm. David fought for the house, but it was my father's gift, premarital. His company fired him when the embezzlement surfaced. He'd skimmed $25,000 to cover bets. Charges followed. In court, Kayla testified, revealing the transfers. Lisa spoke of his lies. David wept. I love Anna. The judge awarded me the house, alimony, max. I sold the Audi, the chili story, a whispered legend among friends. My art soared, a gallery show, Unveiled Shadows, sold out, inspired by the betrayals haunting the wait. 2 years later, I met Alex, a gallery owner whose quiet strength healed my scars. We married, my life a new canvas, vibrant and free. David? He paid his debts, got help, but the burn of his choices lingered, a confession etched in pain. The chili was my midnight confession, a spark that lit the truth. Betrayal burns, but so does justice.